Change is hard. Change is a very difficult thing to do. And I know firsthand what it's like to have to go through a process of trying to change. It's just so defeating when you are trying to make differences and changes in your life and you feel like maybe you kind of was on a kick with it and then boom, you fall off. You get distracted again, or you know, you get into some stuff that you know you've been delivered from, free from, stop doing. And it's like, dang, like, will I ever be set free? Like, will I ever be able to fully, be in a place where I feel like, okay, I've made all these changes. I got my habits and my discipline down pat. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that could throw me off. But, child, then, life happens. Or you're just more vulnerable that day. And you just happen to fall right back into the same habits, same patterns. And I'm here to remind you that you have to give yourself grace. You have to do it. You have to do it because one thing about me, I'm going to beat myself up. I'm going to beat myself up. But if it was somebody else, I'm like, nah, girl, you got to give yourself grace. You got to be able to just, baby step your way through. You won't have it overnight. It's a process. And so I'm here to tell you guys that because I know for me, I do that. And I know that for me, I would love to personally just be in a place where I have everything down. Like, I'm not struggling, I'm not slipping, I'm not falling back into old habits or old patterns. But look, I do it. I know a lot of people do it. And as long as I know that I am making progress in what it is I'm trying to do, and it's not how it used to be, that's progress, period. And I think it's just, again, I feel like maybe we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to change so many things at once, or we expect to be at a certain place, doing a certain thing at a certain time, and it's taking a little bit longer, or it's not happening the way we expect. And I don't think that's a fair way to journey yourself through change. I don't think that's a graceful way to be able to allow yourself to grow into this new version of yourself, because making changes is literally like changing your lifestyle, changing who you are, changing the way you're naturally programmed to do things. And I think that, we we live in a time where discipline and making changes and habits, and especially now we're in the last quarter of the year, it's all of this like extra pressure to be a certain way or do a certain thing, or be disciplined in the area that we may be still struggling in, or be free from an area that we're still struggling in. And I think that too, those that suffer with overthinking, anxiety, fear, it can also lead to just constantly like berating yourself, bringing yourself down, shaming yourself, disqualifying yourself. Just a lot of negative, shaming feelings or experiences that you may walk through due to messing up, due to falling flat on your face, due to getting off track. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm having to remind myself that, look, G, in the journey of change, in the process of, becoming a newer version of yourself, you will stumble. You will have moments where you slip up. You'll have moments where, you're not necessarily on fire and doing it exactly the way you want. But that doesn't mean that you have to stay there. That doesn't mean you have to even put all this shame on you. You don't have to put yourself through a mental war of how you really are, how you really should feel bad about yourself, and oh, you're not really capable of change. Listening to the lies, because the enemy, that devil, baby, I be ready to stomp that motherfucker out. Excuse my language, and I have to say it, but I'm like, this motherfucker, he just be in your ear, just like, oh, you thought you was finna change. You thought you was finna be on that. You thought you was finna lose all that weight. You thought you was finna save all that money. You thought you was gonna stop doing this. You thought you was gonna start that. And I be having to just cuss that nigga out. I be having to, because sometimes I really sit here and I eat that shit up, and I really be believing it, like, damn, maybe I'm not capable of accomplishing this goal, or maybe I'm not ready or strong enough to complete this thing or do this thing or stop that thing. And it's like, baby, you gotta just take it one step at a time. And you gotta do it with God. You got to do it with God. That's one thing I know for a fact. You can't do it by yourself. It's not gonna happen. And I'm saying it's not gonna happen, but there's a grace when you do it with the Lord. When you do it by yourself, it's raps. But you know, that's my own personal experience. But I'm just processing just the fact that change is not something to constantly like beat yourself up about if you are making mistakes, right? Or if you're stumbling your way through, or you're still trying to figure out, you know, how to completely, you know, reduce the thing that you're trying to stop and increase the thing that you're trying to start. And I also know that in turn of having that grace and that compassion and that understanding of stumbling and trying to journey your way through, there is also that, okay, girl, get up. Like, get up. You sitting there, you know, eating up that devil and eating up his lies. You are wallowing in shame and pity. You're giving up. You're throwing the whole towel away, all from one little mistake or maybe a couple mistakes. It's okay. But, you know, it's better to just get up and get back to it than to just sit and be like, oh, well, I'm a failure. Oh, it's not going to work out for me. Oh, I can never stop it. I can never start this. It won't grow. It won't happen. I'm going to always be like this. No. What? That sounds like the motherfucking devil to me. The God I serve, the God that I choose to believe in, I know for a fact he's encouraging. I know that he's trying to lift us up. And, you know, I also do believe he's just, you know what I'm saying? I do believe that he wants us to be better. I do believe that he wants us to grow. So he's not going to be excited that we're still in the same place, or that, you know, if anything, regressing. But I think that there is celebration and progress. You know, even if you stumble a little bit and get back up, it's just kind of like learning anything. You know, you gonna climb 7 stairs and may step back one. How they say it? You may take 10 steps forward and a couple steps back, but you just got to keep going forward. You got to keep going forward. You can't stop. You can't stop. You got to just keep trying. Like for someone who may be trying to change their diet, girl, trying to change your diet is hard, especially when you got that sugar and that sodium in you. It is hard to just start eating something bland. So yes, I'm going to have a lot of cheat days. I'm going to have a lot of cheat days, but you know what? It's better that in the 30 days, maybe in the past, it was every day was a cheat day. But the next month, okay, it was 20 days in a 30-day month that I had cheat days. And the next month, it's 10 days. And the next month is 5, and so forth. There's reduction in what you trying to stop, but there's obviously an increase of what you wanted to start. And that's, I think, a beautiful way to look at things when you are on the journey of change. Don't use it as an excuse to continue to stay somewhere, but I think it is a beautiful way to challenge yourself to make some different habits in your life. Like if you're trying to be more productive, you know, maybe you are spending 5 hours on social media a day. you want to reduce that. You know, obviously you don't want to just be sitting on social media scrolling, because that obviously is not a productive way to spend your time. It could be a cool way to decompress, but 5 hours is kind of crazy. But I'm saying 5 hours because I know some people that's doing it. I've done it myself. I don't know 5 hours though, but for sure it's been a couple hours on the phone. Anyways, I think that being able to, you know, challenge yourself, like, you know what, okay, every day I spend 5 hours on this phone. This month I would really, really like to reduce that to maybe, say it's like every day, 4 times a week that I scroll for that long. Or it could be, you know what, instead of spending 5 hours every day, I won't spend more than 3. The next time I won't spend more than 2. The next time we revisit the goals, I won't spend more than 1. Something. Or if you challenge yourself to just every single day you're gonna show up and post, but then you miss a day, and then now you feel like, oh, I gotta throw the whole business away. No, just get up and post and keep going. You may have some days where you fall off. You may have some days where you skip. You may have some days where, you know, you just don't have it in you to do right, to move right, or to move the way you want. But as long as you get back up and do it, that's all that matters. And you can't let the devil shame you. You can't let yourself shame you or bring yourself down. You just gotta allow yourself to acknowledge that, look, I had a weak moment, a weak month. But I'm gonna get back up. I don't have to stay down. It's a process. And you forgive yourself if there are things that you know that may make you feel a little bit more worse than others. Because sometimes it's easy to just be like, fuck, like I fucked up, I messed up, I'm not doing right. And this could be anything. It could be from, you know, your diet to how you treat your mama. I don't know, how you speak to people, how you express yourself, or how you know, save money. I don't know. Whatever your thing is, we all have our thing. We all have those things that we would like to stop, but we also have those things that we like to start. And we feel like, if I don't have the discipline, if I don't have the, you know, the lifestyle or the mentality, if I don't have the mentality to do this thing, it will never get done. But baby, you gotta grow into it. You gotta grow into it. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. You gotta grow into it. And I think that's a beautiful thing about life. Those that are truly growing, those that are actively trying to make a difference, I think that there's like a genuine, natural growth into it. And I also believe that, you know, the completely changing and stopping things also lead to growth as well. I think both can be true. But I think for those that may struggle with wanting things to be perfect right then and there, and if you slip up and you mess up, then it's wraps. It don't gotta be that. You know, I'm speaking to those that are just anxious and overthinking and over, you know, you fuck up one time and then you just throw everything away for the rest of the month, rest of the year, and it's like, it don't gotta be that. It don't gotta be that. So I just came on here to just be real and share, like, you know, I'm personally dealing with it, and I feel like we all go through it at some point in our lives. But I'm also here to remind myself and to remind you that, baby, you don't need to let this stop you. You don't need to let this completely derail you or throw you off whatever track God got you on. You forgive yourself and you get up and you try again. Simple as that. So change is hard, yes, but it's not impossible. All you gotta do is just grace yourself through it. That's it. So I hope this video was helpful. I know it was a good reminder for me, and it still will forever need to be a reminder for me, because it is something I struggle with. But I don't have to continue to choose a path of self-loathing, self-pity, and completely giving up on everything when I can just get up and try again. Love y'all.